Boker Tov, Shabbat Shalom, Hag Sameach, welcome. Delighted to see you all. 187 with an ode to morning. To you the stars of morning sing, from you their bright radiance must spring, and on this spring morning, steadfast in their vigils, day and night, the children of the source, flooded with fervor, ring your praise. They teach the holy ones to bring into your house, into this house, the breath of early light. 186, with gratitude for the soul that's been returned to us, is returned to us each day. Eyes up to the mountain, but first to the bottom of the page, 188. $194, no matter how each of us sits in our skin, each one of us is a miracle. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah, uvara vo nechavim, nechavim, chalulim, chalulim, גלוי וידוע לפני כיסא כבודך, שאם ייפתח אחד מהם, או ייסתם אחד מהם, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר, מפליא לעשות. 196. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי טהור ההיא, אלוהי נשמה
נשמה שנתת בי טהורה היא. אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי, אלוהי נשמה שנתת בי. ברוך אתה אדוני בידו נפש כל חי ורוח כל בשר איש.
198, we truly are surrounded by miracles each day. Yesterday, some of us witnessed the sunrise together, and it was glorious. 198. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lasechti bina, lehavchin ben yom ben laila, for awakening. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hokeach ivrim, for vision. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, for the ability to stretch. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kifufim, for rising to the new day. 200. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, rokach haaretz al hamayim, for firm earth to stand upon. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechim mitzadei gaver, for the gift of motion. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim, for clothing the body. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, le'atein le'ayaf koach, for renewed enthusiasm for life. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir sheina me'enai, utnuma me'af apai, for reawakening. Amen. 202. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tzelem Elohim, for being in the image of the divine. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorin, for being a free person. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael, for being a Jew. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura, for purpose. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'tifara, for harmony. 204. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Amen. 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 For the gift of engaging with Torah on this Chag of Shavuot. 213. Hareini mizamein et pi l'chodot ochalel oshabeach et bori. With this do we prepare ourselves to thank, praise, and glorify our Creator.
Baruch atah Adonai, melech mehulal v'tishbachot.
2:15. Happy are those who dwell in this house.
Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yehallelucha Od Yehallelucha Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha Od Yehallelucha Od Yehallelucha.
To 24.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'alma divra hirute v'yamlik malchute b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye kol beit Yisrael bagala bagala ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה זמירן בעלמה ואמרו Amen.
We are so blessed. Blessed with the soul that's returned to us, with the breath that we breathe, with the miracles that abound by the sunbeam that's flowing in here this morning. And as we are blessed, let us bless. Nevarech 226. 228, 229. In the beginning, even then, a new light was sown for the righteous, a promise that your light would become the catalyst, first for order and then for hope. Author of Language and Light, help us use words as you have to cast lights into dark waters and draw out justice and truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer Hamarot. 230, we are loved deeply, eternally, endlessly.
How deeply you have loved us, Adonai, our source, gracing us with surpassing compassion on account of our forebears whose trust led you to teach them the laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. O merciful one, have mercy on us by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Ve'ha'ereneinu beToratecha, ve'dahabeg libeinu b'mitzvotecha, ve'yached levaveinu le'ahava u'yira et shemecha, ve'lo nivosh ve'lo nikalem, ve'lo nikashil le'olam va'ed, ki v'shem kodechecha hagadol ve'hanora b'atachnu nagila v'nismecha b'yeshuatecha. Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to your land. For you, O God, work wonders. You choose us. Truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Rising as one in love, declaring oneness of the one.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto Leolam Vayed.
234.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'odecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha
Vishinantam levanecha
v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam lehod al yadecha v'hayu letotafot
bein einecha
uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha.
235, reading responsively. If we can hear the words Misinai, from Sinai, then love will flow from us, and we shall serve all that is holy with all our intellect and all our passion and all our life.
If we can serve all that is holy, we shall be doing all that humans can to help the rains to flow, the grasses to be green,
the grains to be golden like the sun, and the rivers to be filled with life once more. All the children of the divine shall eat, and there shall be enough. But if we turn from Sinai's words and serve only what is common and profane, making gods of our own comfort or power, then the holiness of life will contract for us, and our world will grow inhospitable. Let us therefore lace these words into our passion and our intellect, and bind them as a sign upon our hands and eyes. Let us write them in mezuzot upon our doors and teach them to our children. Let us honor the generations that came before us, keeping the promise for those yet to be. 236, the bottom. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. 239, true and enduring. The eternal truth is that you are alone and there is none else. May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation nor learn war anymore. You shall not hate your sibling in your hearts. The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor, asks God. We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy. Praise to the source most high. Blessed is HaShekhinah, deserving of blessing.
Amen.
Who is like you? A question for which there is and can never be an answer. 240.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, o seifela, nora tehilot, o seifela. Shira hadasha, שבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים. יחד כולם הודו וימלכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופתחן אומך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
242, opening our hearts and our lips and our minds to prayer.
תהילת תפך Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, B'teinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, V'zocher hasiavot va'imahot, U'mevi gula livnei bneihem, L'man shemo be'ahava, Melech ozer u'moshiach u'magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, Bezrat Sarah.
246.
Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atarav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalchel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somek noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umkayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha Baal Gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hakol.
For all that is holy, 248.
Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, Kakatuv al yad neviecha, V'kara zel zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Melech haaretz kevodo. Adir, Adirenu Adonai, Adonenu Ma'adir, Shimcha b'chol haaretz, Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, vehu Yashmienu, verachamav le'enei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitzion, Ledor vador, Hallelujah, Ledor vador, Ledor vador, Ledor vador, Nagid golecha, Ledor vador, Ledor vador, Ledor vador, Nagid golecha, Olim netzach netzachim, Kedushatecha naktish, Kedushatecha naktish, V'shivcha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush, le'olam, le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh, yai lai lai yai lai yai lai, yai lai yai lai yai lai, yai lai lai yai lai yai lai yai lai.
We are a people in whom the past endures through Shabbats. 250.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי שביעית שבת, כולם ישמעו ויתעמדו בשבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ובשביעי רצית בו וקידשת שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשי בראשית שבת. זכר למעשי בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
Continuing silently through page 260. gift of Torah is sweet. It's made that much sweeter on Shavuos. 362 for Seder Kriyat Torah l'Shabbat b'Chag.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai ve'ein k'ma'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitin Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Av harachamim hitiv avitzoncha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim kivecha lavad batachnu melech eram v'nisa adon olamim
364.
Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah Udvar Adonai Merushalayim
366.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah L'amo Yisrael B'kedushato
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti unromima Shemo yachdav. Leha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'rahod ki ho b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki ho b'shamayim u'va'aretz lecha Adonai hamelacha v'amid na'aseh lehon erosh al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Rebbe Chumash, if you haven't already done so. And this morning we are doing special reading for Shavuot. Our readings this morning is from Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 9 to 11. In the Blue Book, it can be found in page 1274. Our first reading and aliyah will be our Chazanit, Alexandra Schleudera. Nala Amod, Alexandra mi Beit Yitzchak v'Miriam, ha'aliyah harishona.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen. Shiv'a Shavuot tisparlach mehachel hermesh bakama tachel tachel lispor. Shiv'a Shavuot Be'asita Chag Shavuot L'Adonai Elohecha Mesat Nidvat Yadecha Asher Titain Ka'asher Yivrechecha Adonai Elohecha V'samachta Lifnei Adonai Elohecha Ata uvnecha uvtecha ve'avdecha va'amtecha ve'halevi asher bish'arecha ve'hager lechayatom ve'ha'emunah asher bikribecha b'makom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha l'shachein shemo sham. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
For the second aliyah, we're going to be reading verses 12 through 14, right where Alexandra led off on page 1274. I'd like to call Samara and our junior Gabbai. We don't know where she went. Okay. Nala Amod Chaya Bruna mi Beit Pinkes Nachum ve'etel ha'aliyah ha'shenit.
Baruch hu et Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'zacharta ki eved hayita b'Mitzrayim v'shamarta
Sita.
v'sita et hachukim ha'ele. Chag hasukot te'aseh lecha shivat yamim ve'aspecha migarnecha umiikvecha ושמחת בחגיך אתה ובנך וביתך ועבדך ועמתך ושם
Bahalevi.
והלוי
Hager.
Oh, okay, the wrong line. V'halevi, v'hager, v'hachaman, v'ha'almana,
Chayatom.
asher bisharecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
With all the distractions at your feet.
Yeah, you have a lot of distractions going on there.
This is a metaphor right here. Challenges of reading Torah.
Okay, time for Mishabera.
Pausing to offer a prayer of healing for those in needs.
Mishaberach avotenu ve'ivotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yevarech et hacholim.
Rochelle Kahn, Edie Aronson, Dawn Neal, and Michael Sanchez.
Emma Moorcraft, John Gaston, Susan Radlier, Karen Raphael.
Celia Reisenstadt, David Eisenstadt, Marsha Rosen, that can be in person.
Joe Saunders.
Steve Wynn, Ben Wilder.
Leslie
Adding also Tuttle Belly, Jamie Berg, Amelia Byers, Audrey Cohen, Connie Creedon Muller, Terry Fidel, Phyllis Fillmore, Ariana Hagakor, Ellie Edelwitz, Lou Klein, Mary Jane Klein, Ellen Leifer, Ken Lejak, Jack Lyons, David Mallon, Jane Meyerson, Susan Otsenas, Merle Perlmutter, Claude Schleuderer, Sloan Shortley, Kahana Skolnick, Lynn Spiro, Jennifer Sumber, Tali Tolman Mineo, Ben Wilder, Kim Wiltsey, Sue Worthman, and for the continued healing of Lauren Petties.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu Yimli Rachamim Alehem Lahachlimam Urapotam Ulchasikam V'yishlach Lahem Mehira Refuah Shlema Min Hashamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf Hashta Bagala V'zman Kariv V'nomar Amen.
I would like to add Karen Wilder to that list too.
And Karen Wilder.
Karen Wilder.
The third Aliyah and final Aliyah for today, we're going to be reading, I am going to continue reading on line 15, at the bottom of page 1274, and I'm going to call Vicky for the honor. Nala Amod, Chana mi Beit Shmuel v'Chava, Ha'aliyah HaShlishit.
Baruch et Adonai Havarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher bacha banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
What number are you starting? Shivat Yamim? Could you just tell us? Of course.
Amen. Shivat Yamim ve'especha. This is not it.
Nope. Shivat Yamim. Is that it? Tachok. What verse are you reading?
That's not the right one.
What verse are you reading? What number is the verse you're
3.
reading? Number 3.
Reading 15.
15?
16.
Shivat Yamim Tachok.
Yeah. That's what I said. That's where it starts.
I ended up here.
Yeah.
This is where I ended, so I'm not sure. Sham is where I ended.
We ended Sham. But then she went here. So it should be here somewhere. Right, so it's up over here. Here it is, sir. Amen. Shivat Yamim Tachog Adonai Elohecha B'makom Asher Yivchar Adonai Ki V'rechecha Adonai Elohecha B'chol Tmunatcha U'chol Ma'aseh Yadecha V'hai Yita'ach Sameach Shalosh Pamim Bashana Yireh Kol Zichrocha Et Pnei Adonai Elohecha B'makom Asher Yivchar B'chag HaMatzot U'b'chag HaShavuot U'b'chag HaSukkot V'lo Yireh Et Pnei Adonai Reikam Ish K'matnat Yado K'virkat Adonai Elohecha Asher Natan Lahu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torah damer v'chayei olamot b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
And now, as who's lifting a Torah? Are you doing it?
From the truck?
Okay, as our rabbinic intern Jack lifts the Torah. Lauren, can you please come to mic for us? Please rise as we lift the Torah.
Bezot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe wherever you wanna go Leti Adonai B'yad Moshe Torah, Torah Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah,
Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Torah,
I don't have it anymore.
Torah, Tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, udvar Adonai Yerushalayim. 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 Returning the Torah to the ark this morning. 374.
374. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai, keniskav shemo levado, hodo le'eretz b'shamayim, vayarem kerem le'amo, tehila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ki lekach tov natati lechem torati al tahazovu, for I have given you good instruction, do not forsake it. Eitz chaim hi lemakazikim ba, v'tomechecha meushar. Derachecha, darchei noam, v'chol netivotecha, shalom. Hashivenu Adonai, elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu, Kekedem. With our Torah safely resting, with our hearts open, we invite our Rabbi Ellen to read Haftorah for us this morning. She will be in 1482 of the Blue Book, Ezekiel 1, 26 through 28. That's page 1482. Thank you, Al.
Right, it's the special Haftarah for the second day of Shavuot. And yeah, I'm reading, starting on line 26 at the bottom of the page.
What's the page number?
Page is 1482. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek
Amen.
u'mimal larakia asher al rosham kamare even sapir demut kisei Va'al demut hakisei demut kamare adam alive milmala va'ere kein חשמל, כמראה אש בית לה סביב, ממראה מותניו ולמעלה, וממראה מותניו ולמטה, ראיתי כמראה אש ונוגעת לו סביב, כמראה הקשת אשר יהיה וענן ביום הגשם, כן מראה הנוגה סביב הוא מראה דמות כבוד אדוני, ואראה ואפול על פניי, ואשמע קול מדבר, ותישאני רוח, ואשמע אחרי קול רעש גדול. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר מקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק, על התורה, על העבודה ועל הנביאים, ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch וברוך שמו.
מקדש השבת.
Amen. Thank you, Ellen.
You're welcome.
So it occurred to me at some point yesterday, after having spent the better parts of the previous, 500 hours studying Torah and spending, the night here in synagogue, engaging in the active tikkun Leil Shavuot. That's Shavuot is sort of a holiday that's not unlike the experience of being a rabbinical student. And I shared this with Dave last night, where it's, late nights studying Torah, maybe having a snack, but there's sort of a likeness to my mind between my experience in rabbinical school these past 4 years and the holiday of Shavuot, and thinking about receiving Torah as a student and about Torah as a discipline, wanting to take a moment to talk about how we learn Torah and what Torah success looks like. And because we've just received Torah, we've just read, we read yesterday morning the Ten Commandments. I'm going to do sort of a top 10 of Torah success for reading on Shavuot and at all times. There are a number of Torah readings for Shavuot, which I think is where this thought came from. There's the reading from Deuteronomy, there's another reading from Numbers, there's two different Haftorah readings, there's the book of Ruth. There's a lot of Torah reading that one can choose from on Shavuot. And of course, there is a certain amount of study that's required to determine what you will study on Shavuot. We're not going to go down that particular rabbit hole. We're going to go down a different rabbit hole. What do you think the number one most important thing the sages teach is what needs to do in order to be successful in learning Torah? Number one thing you need to do. Was that an answer I heard mumbling over there?
I was saying
It's a good question. Number one, what's the first thing? You have to read it. You would think that was the first thing. Read the Torah, open the book, look at it. It's not the first thing.
Arrive early for study.
Arrive early for study.
Morning and
Getting close, getting close, getting close.
I would say consistency. Do
It's on the list.
again and again and again.
It's on the list. Number one, prayer. The number one, the Torah the sages teach the number one most important thing that one can do to ready themselves for Torah success, and that we read in the Tehillim and David HaMelech, it says the number one thing is prayer. Start with prayer. Starts by entering into a relationship with openness to the source and ready yourself to receive prayer. Congratulations, you all achieved step one here for prayer. You know, and you would think that like in any other discipline, prayer wouldn't necessarily help you. I will say prayer has helped me in rabbinical school. It didn't help me when I was studying to be a therapist, and it didn't necessarily help me, at least not directly, in other sort of more secular disciplines. You know, you want to be a physicist or a mathematician, maybe prayer doesn't get you there. But success in Torah, prayer. Yeah, Alex.
Imagine if they did pray before they did science things.
Imagine. It's, you know, I think there's just perhaps a skepticism that scientists or mathematicians maybe bring to the discipline that it may cause them to wonder, like, what do you mean I should pray before I study this will help me? This will help me with calculus or whatever the math words are that I don't know, physics and chemistry and all those things. Prayer is the first thing we do to ready ourselves to receive and to be successful in studying Torah. Number two, anyone want to have a shot at it? I may have actually already heard it. Maybe from the front row, maybe from Dave. That's on the list, but before we're consistent, we have to what? We're already here, we're praying. We have to read it. Sorry, maybe it was Evie who said it. You have to read it, you have to open the book, you have to do the work, you have to show up. You've prayed, you're open, you're grounded, you've prepared yourself to receive the gift that's given. Number two, you gotta read, and you gotta read. Which leads us to our next, on our top 10. What is it? Also already heard it. Consistency. You got to read it and read it and read it again and again and again. It's not enough just to kind of open it and look at it and put away. You have to come back to it and you come back to it and you come back to it. They say that Moses taught Torah 4 times. Taught it to Aaron, taught it to Aaron's sons. There's 4 times. And so each time you encounter Torah is only partial learning. You return to it over and over again. You've not learned Torah, whether we're talking about the written Torah or the oral Torah, until you've encountered it at least 4 times. And so there's consistency, and there's also return. Like you have to come back to it, which is what we do. We read. The Torah only ever begins, right? We only ever start reading Torah. We never finish. When we get to the end, we start all over again in the same breath, right? So consistency and returning. There actually is there's an interesting teaching in the Gemara that's like, what's the difference between 100 and 101 when it comes to learning? Each time you learn something, so the first time you learn it, you've learned it once. The second time you learn it, you're not only learning it, but you remembered what you learned the first time, so it's twice. And the third time you learn it, you remember the remembering of the second time from the first time, so you're at 4, and then it just on and on and on. So by the time you get to 100, the difference between 100 and 101 is like a billion, right? Because each time there's the remembering of what came before it, and so when it comes to consistency, it matters. Alex.
As a human who is always trying to reach more consistency, the term return just feels a lot better to me than like trying to remain consistent, but the idea of returning is a lot gentler, so I appreciate you highlighting that.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's on this list is freeing oneself from distractions in service of consistency, right? And so, it's not the same thing to study for 1 minute and then check your phone and then study for 5 minutes and get a snack and check for messages on your phone that you just checked 5 minutes ago. It's not the same. Even if the total amount of study adds up to an hour of interrupted study, even if you add up all the minutes, like 1 minute and 5 minutes and 7 minutes and get to 60 minutes, it's not the same thing as a 60-minute uninterrupted hour of study. So freeing ourselves of distraction and doing so in service of consistency or of return. What else is on our list for Torah success? Dave.
Well, I'm starting off facetiously saying sleep on it, but it's more significant than that because you got
mull it over, right? So give it time. It's like you learn it, and then you think about it, and you come back to it, right? It doesn't sort of settle into who we are as people, as Jews. This knowing doesn't become part of us until we sleep on it. And that could be sleeping on it for the night, for years, for generations. You come back to it. We're still reading on this cycle over and again, and new insights, new revelation each time.
You have to discuss.
You have to discuss it. It says it's not enough if you are studying and you read the words and you sort of say them in your mind. You need to discuss, you just say them out loud. Just say them out loud. So you study in Chavruta, you study here in Torah study with me, saying the words out loud. It's not enough if it's just in your head. Speaking the words, studying the words, often, preferably together, iron sharpens iron. We learn and have a greater chance of Torah success when we say the words. Yeah, Vicky.
Yeah, I was thinking that to myself, but since Evie brought it up, I really don't think if I just read it myself, I would learn much of anything. I just read it, like before I go to services or Torah study, I just read it, and half the time I don't even like what I'm reading. So it doesn't mean much to me. I just want to be prepared.
Yeah.
And then I hear portions of what I've read talked about on a more metaphysical, deeper level,
Mhm.
and I get something out of it. So maybe one day when I'm 90, I'll be able to read by myself and get more out of it. But at this point, and I've come late to Torah, I really don't get it on my own.
Well, we're not meant to. That's what I'm saying. We're not meant to get it on our own. Like, we can get pieces of it, right? We know the story, we know what's going on, we know what the Ten Commandments are, we know, the general outline of our schlep from, Bereshis to, the very end. Oh, Marty's over here. But you're not meant to do it on your own, and that's the point. Say it out loud, say it together, study with a partner, and, the more is revealed in that practice. Yeah, Marty.
You have to try to reconcile it with other understanding, with earlier readings, with earlier discussions.
That's right.
Sometimes inconsistencies that you sense, and you need to try to reconcile those differences.
That's right. So like new learning builds on existing learning, right? And so each time you encounter it, each time you encounter it in the company of another person who's encountering it, like this is the math of Torah learning, right? It's like, it's exponential, the growth, and there's a process of integration that's required. Like, oh, this is what I thought it said, and this is what I learned last time, and here's what I'm thinking now, and, Sheldon just taught me, or Evie just taught me, like, this other perspective, and like that's how we grow in our Torah learning, okay?
Study with the teacher.
With a teacher. It actually says, make for yourself a rabbi. Make for yourself a teacher. A teacher and a friend. These are the two things that we're meant to find for
Pirkei Avot?
ourselves.
Is that Pirkei Avot?
It's Pirkei Avot, a friend and a teacher. So a friend with whom to, when you're on your way and you're coming back, you're getting coffee, you're going to the park, whatever it is you're doing with your friends, saying words of Torah out loud, and also a teacher. And so, I've been reflecting on this, what it means to have a teacher, and why the sages thought that it's important that we have specifically a rabbi. Any thoughts about why that is?
A learned teacher.
A learned teacher? One, yeah?
There's so much history and backstory involved in each of these. You need somebody who's familiar with the whole picture.
Okay. A learned teacher, somebody who's familiar, has all the kind of inside information. Other thoughts about why it's important to have a rabbi? Yeah.
Well, rabbis often have read a lot of the midrash, the discussion, and so can talk about all the different aspects of how to interpret what they read.
All true, all correct. But that's not what the sages teach. They say the importance of having a rabbi is because learning is relational. We remember better, we engage more deeply when we receive words of Torah from somebody we're in relationship with. Right? And so the things that my many teachers have taught me that I can remember, I can hear them in my mind, in their voice saying, here's this lesson that Torah teaches us. And I remember that more than I remember when I'm reading myself, in my, doing my, rabbinical school homework or whatever it is. It's having a learned teacher is nice, having a teacher who knows the midrash and who knows the backstory. Great, but a teacher need not be more learned than you even. They need not even be an exceptional teacher. Better, they should be somebody who you are in relationship with, that you like and respect, and who's committed to studying Torah. Because the rabbi is the person in a community who holds that space for these conversations to happen, who's committed to Torah learning and to Torah teaching and to facilitating Torah conversations. What do you think? Do you buy it?
Well, it depends on what your community looks like, because you could be part of a community where the majority of people have sikha, and then you need to choose to be with someone, I guess what you were saying, who you respect and you have a relationship with.
Yep.
But
Yeah, it need not be just one person either. Like, it could be many people. I have many teachers.
I think the key is you have to listen.
You have to listen. Yeah.
Kind of a triangle here between you, the teacher, and what you're learning. And there has to be a genuine connection between all 3 points.
Exactly.
So the teacher, as David says, a learned teacher, but a teacher who is connected, who feels the connection to you as a learner as well as to the material to be learned. All of that has to
Those are the ideal conditions, but certainly, I know I have learned from people who maybe are not so wise or who say things that aren't true, who make mistakes. That's all learning, right? And so better you should have a trusting relationship, a relationship with somebody you respect, a relationship with somebody who's learned, but the rabbi said that's not necessary. What's necessary is that there's somebody who's holding a space that you are in relationship with and can learn from, even if it's through their, the things that they misspeak or get wrong or screw up. Yeah.
Is there also
A friend.
separate from the rabbi?
You can be friends with your rabbi. So, but again, not required, certainly available for friendship. Yeah.
That you actually listen to the people you're studying.
Exactly. Yeah, listening. Yeah, it's a relationship, right? It's not just one person in conversation with them. So it's not just me teaching you Torah. We're learning Torah together, right? And so we learn from Vicky's questions, and we learn from Marty's questions, and we learn from the feedback that we get, or the thoughts or insights we get from Ellen or Evie and anyone in this room. It's not one directional. It's all sides. What else? Yeah.
Oh, I would say, teach it to somebody else.
Teach it. Exactly. You want to be successful in Torah? Take in what you can and then teach it. Nothing reinforces learning and the integration of knowing into oneself and being and practice and life than teaching. And that's one of the highest orders of knowing is teaching. You really know what you know and what you don't know when you try to teach somebody else, particularly somebody else who is also knowing. And so, there's part of learning that comes from saying the words out loud, hearing yourself say them, from hearing somebody else say them. That's a kind of an auditory learning, right? There's a learning that comes from speaking. Teaching, that's when we know that we know what we think we know, right? Even as we learn, I learn as I teach. I learn from you. I learn from my classmates. I learn from anyone I'm in conversation with. But really listening and being open to that learning is an essential piece. But teaching is essential. Anything else on the list? Questioning, curiosity. It's not on the list, but it should be. Let's put it on there. This is the thing. It's a top 10 list, but I think the rabbis actually say there's 48 different entry points into learning, and we're just talking about 10 because we are humble which is on the list. Actually, humility is on the top 10 lists. Why was Moses given the Torah? Why not Abraham or Yaakov or Yitzhak? Why Moses? What's the one thing we know about Moses? What's like the top, like what's what the Torah says about Moses, like the highest kavod that's...
He's humble.
He's humble. Why is the Torah come from Mount Sinai? It's the lowliest of mountains. It's like a emblem of humility. Moses, humble. To really receive and learn and integrate Torah, to be a good learner of Torah, we need to humble ourselves. What do I know? Teach me. Teach me. I'm really open to not knowing. Humility is important. But there was one that I just skipped over that I think maybe Evie said. Curiosity. Asking questions. Yeah, let's put it on the list. We're at 11. Turning it up to 11. Right? To be curious, ask questions, wonder. This is not a recipe. And if it were, it'd be the kind of recipe like maybe your great-grandmother passed down, but it's like missing a few things because it's a secret. This is like a trope, right? Where it's like things get passed down and like maybe an essential piece of it is missing and it's on you to kind of figure it out, and maybe you experiment and your cake falls flat, and then maybe it's spilled into the pan, and maybe it's like too salty or whatever it is. Like we're meant to participate in the act of revelation by asking questions and kind of filling in the gaps, because there are gaps, right? So asking questions. Alex.
You were talking about like oral learning, so I'm wondering if maybe one of the things is writing.
Yes, it's on the list. Writing. They say you should not only read it loud, read in discussion, teach, but write. The Torah is the right hand of God, right? And we receive the Torah, the written Torah, right? Part of learning is writing.
Does that mean writing your thoughts on the Torah, copying the Torah, parshot? What does it mean?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Gotta love
Right?
these answers.
I mean, what you do is like they say that's true Torah learning, and I don't have the source ready in mind for this, but like with the 240 limbs of your body. Have you heard this? And there's a midrash about she is the wife of, I don't remember who her husband is, but Brura, Bruria, and she hears a Talmud Chacham like studying Torah, but he's not like saying the words out loud, and so she goes and kicks him in the shins. Have you heard this story? And she's like, you are not learning if you're not saying it out loud. It's like, because it's not in his body, it's not in his mouth. He's not using all of his limbs, he's not using his tongue, right? The tongue is a vehicle of Torah, and so the hand is a vehicle of Torah. It's like, if you're writing your thoughts, if you're scribing like the Sefer Torah or the Mezuzot or the Tefillin or like whatever, you're writing words of Torah, which of course we learned last night was just one long string of letters, according to Rashi and Ramban. Writing is how we embody learning.
Body.
Incumbent upon us to write a Torah.
It is incumbent upon us to write a Torah. Exactly.
That was mentioned at the beach.
It's one of the 613, right? Embodied Torah. We listen to Torah, we write Torah, we have Torah in our minds, in our hearts, in our mouths. Yeah.
If it's not on the list, I think live it should be.
It's not. We're at 12. How do we, so live it. What does that mean? What does it mean to live Torah?
Make Jewish choices when we can.
Okay, make Jewish choices.
Follow the mitzvah.
The mitzvot. Okay. What else?
Tikkun olam.
Tikkun olam. How do we live Torah? How do we integrate it into our lives? It's like one thing to know something, it's another thing to do it, right? So how do we get from knowing to doing? How do we cross that bridge? Yeah.
I think what's popping into my mind is that the rabbi at the beach said that there are some mitzvot that we don't, or she doesn't follow, and I guess as progressive people, we don't.
We don't offer the Paschal, like we're not offering the...
Like you mention laying with other men, we pick and choose these days, and I think so in a way that there are,
just wanting to clarify that,
Mitzvot commandment.
sorry? Achrei Mot, it says a man should not lie with another man as one would lie with a woman. Doesn't say a man should not lie with another man. I think when Rabbi was talking about prohibited sexual relations, she's thinking more like, a father should not lie with his daughter, mother should not lie with her daughter, or with her son, these kinds of forbidden sexual relationships. People should not lie with animals. The reference you've made is not actually explicitly forbidden. It's been translated and interpreted and weaponized throughout history that way.
I heard the same thing. That, but I think, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but there are some things that are concise sentences without any explanation. And with explanation, you can come to a different conclusion. That there are, when you talk about relationships between people, that I don't think that one's, certain, those sentences I think are not complete.
Right. And so it's just also, the point of clarification is that that particular expression is not what's forbidden. What's forbidden is being like the Canaanites. What's forbidden is adultery or extramarital relationships. It's not, what, according to that construction, is men sleeping with men, because that's it's not a precise translation. But what matters is that there is a list of prohibited sexual relationships that I'd say we're as a society committed to not engaging in, and that are generally frowned upon and in some cases illegal. But there are some mitzvot that we can no longer engage in. The temple no longer stands. All of the temple sacrifices can't do it, right? And there are mitzvot that require clarification, such as the one we just clarify. Well, what does it mean? Who can I sleep with and not? And there are mitzvot that we could be doing but aren't. And there are mitzvot that we could be doing and are doing, including showing up to synagogue, engaging in prayer, which, to your point about living it, back to the beginning, where do we start? Prayer. That's one of the ways that we live Torah. Yeah.
And also to expand on Vicky's point, before the Torah was written down, that was the living Torah, the oral Torah, and also, I guess that was a side thing, but picking and choosing in a way, I don't like that phrase, picking and choosing, because it kind of sounds irresponsible, but I think that wrestling with what we agree with and making choices about what we engage with, that is a way of our living the Torah. And I think that might have been what Vicky was getting at. That
I didn't like it the minute I said pick and choose.
Yeah.
It sounds very late.
But it's the choices we make in our Torah today. That's the living Torah. And that's it.
It's like a conversation. You're
Yes.
having a conversation with the text,
Mm-hmm.
and it's telling you if you can get it, then it's talking to you, then it's telling you.
Amen.
And if you're going to argue with it, that's also engaging you, and you're going to come to whatever it is that is most meaningful to you from those conversations with the text. We all do, as we have in any conversation with anything human. The Torah is the expression of people, and the people are in touch with something worth talking about. That we have to take as a given. So it's a very special kind of conversation, especially when you can come to something new from having looked it over in that way.
And the something new, as we talked about last night, or that I rambled about last night, was, the divine revelation, the name of God. Every utterance, every word of Torah is a revelation, an expression of God's divine name. So what's our top 10? Number 1,
Pray.
showing up for prayer, opening to relationship. Number 2, opening the book, right? Read, study. Number 3, it's not really a test. We're just, trying to make sure we got them all. Consistency, right? Consistency, over again, over again, over again. Returning.
Oh yes, return. I like
Returning,
that.
right? Right? It's like not enough that you you plant the seeds in your mind. If you don't water them and return to them and check on them, and you pick your tomato and you have a salad, and each time you're returning to something, otherwise, you're only ever part way and you have no tomatoes for your salad. Number 4, have a teacher. There's not in any particular order, by the way.
Oh.
Have a teacher. Why?
So you can learn together.
So you can learn together that there's someone to hold the space you're in a relationship with, and in terms of learning, more likely to reinforce what you've learned. Number 5, teaching. Yep, teaching reinforces learning. This is about Torah success, Torah learning success. Number 6, humility. Yep, we're at 6. Number 7, writing. 7, write it down. It's like use the limbs of your body. Use your mouth, say it out loud, write it down. Use your hands.
Talk about it lest you be kicked in the mouth.
Lest you be kicked in the shit, exactly. Yeah, don't mess with her. We're missing 3. What's missing? Living it. Okay. That we added to the
I
list,
thought we
though, right?
added.
The whole point, right, is living it, right? It's like, how do we? This is not about just I know a lot of Torah, right? It's not enough just have it in your head if you don't live it, right? That's the whole point. All of these things lead to one place, which is living, a Torah-filled life, okay? So we're at 7. What are we missing?
Oh, contemplation.
Contemplation, reflecting, sitting on it, letting it sort of settle, maybe sleep on it, have a nap, return to it, and integrate existing learning with new learning. Okay, so we're at 8. 2 more. This is where it gets hard, right? You're at 80%.
As you said, humility, right?
Humility, yeah, we already got humility. Questioning, right? So curiosity, questioning, trying to fill in the gaps where we find them or where they're brought up.
The rabbis say that there are 70 interpretations for every letter in the Torah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll never finish.
That's an expression of humility right there, right? It's like you'll never finish. God is eternal. How can we know? How can we know all that there is to know? Yeah.
I'd like to add one.
Okay.
Prayer after you finish learning.
Ah. So prayer before you start and prayer when you finish. In fact, it says in the Shas that you're meant actually when you enter prayer and when you finish prayer. You enter and you're an expression of humility. Let me focus. Let me be here in this prayer. Let me kind of open and take what's being offered. If I say the wrong words or if I miss something, don't let me be distracted by my own fallibility and the mistakes that I made. Don't let me concern myself with anyone else's judgments, lest should they laugh at me. Let me just set all that at the door and enter into prayer. And when you leave, same thing. An expression of gratitude for what's been offered, a commitment to taking what you've learned with you on your way into your lived Jewish life or lived Torah life. Prayer, both ends, as though there are only 2 sides, as an expression of humility and gratitude. Yep. We're still waiting for number 10. And if I could remember what it was, I would tell you. So I'm relying on you. This is why we studied Chavruta. There were 10. Read, pray, consistency, return,
Teach.
teach, right, teacher, humility. Teaching is on the list already.
Right.
Right, already got right. Talking is on the list. Let's see, let's go back through my scattered notes here. Again, this is not a definitive list, right? There it is. See, that's just an act of generosity. That's just like, the rabbi's struggling. I don't know, he doesn't have the answer. Right, it's not, we'll never know all of the things there are to know. We may not even know the top 10, although I think we've gotten to at least 13, even if we can't repeat them all. It just means that you have to come back and keep learning together. Any final thoughts? Yeah?
Yeah, I think the beauty of learning Torah is that every year, as we get older and we have different experiences, we change. What we're learning changes, and we can add to it, and we can change how we think about it. And if you study with someone else who also has gained in insight over the past year, when you start to read again, you build on what you've learned.
Beautiful.
There's a Buddhist saying, no one steps into the same river twice.
Beautiful. Only one God, right? And so, on that note, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
The river's always changing, right? Yeah. But into the flow and out of the flow. And we should all be successful at our study of Torah.
Yes.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. You've all just now been to rabbinical school. Mazel tov on your smicha. Announcements. Another top 10 list here. Torah study, meditation next week, Tuesday at 8:45, Wednesday, trope at noon, conversational Hebrew at 4, Thursday, coffee chai with the rabbi, which is just a fun thing, rhyming thing to say, and Intro to Judaism. Check the website for times and locations. Next Friday, special Kabbalat Shabbat, June 2nd, beginning at 6. We are having a guest teacher, former classmate of mine who was recently ordained, a dancer, somebody who will quite literally move you in prayer, and will be here to co-lead with us. In advance of services, there will be a vigil out front of the synagogue, day of awareness, vigil for gun violence, and so 5:30 out front. The color of the day is orange, if you choose to show up with your support in that color. Live town hall meeting with Pat Ryan, Sunday, June 4th from 3 to 4, presented by the Tikkun Olam Committee. Congressman Ryan will be here in person in the social hall, so come engage in conversation with your elected officials, which is one of the ways that we show up to prayer, through engagement with our elected officials and to agitate for change. Outdoor Tot Shabbat, Friday, June 9th, starting at 5:15. Baby Play with PJ Library, who I think should organize everything, especially supply chains. I've never once had an interruption in my delivery of my PJ Library book, even one time through the pandemic. PJ Library should run everything. June 10th, starting at 9:45. Musicians meet up Wednesday, June 14th from 6 to 7:30. Come, play, sing, be together. Other announcements or good news people want to share?
Well, if nobody has heard it, we're new grandparents.
Mazel,
Mazel
mazel,
tov.
mazel.
Tell us
Zoe Naima.
everything, Naima. Aw.
Congratulations.
Beautiful. Congratulations. Other good news to share? I will share that I finished my final of my 4th year of rabbinical school, and I think actually my final forever, just the day before yesterday, which is why I'm a little mushy in the brains, but I just now have my thesis to write, but no more exams. And so although I've just tested you, no more for me. And so 4 years down, 1 to go.
Mazel.
So how will we know when you're?
You'll know.
May 5th, 2024. You'll know.
Put it in your calendar.
That's right, they brand you. There's not just a bit of smearing of blood, no branding. So good news for me and for Frankie, who's like, are you done? 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 Looking forward to some summertime together. What's that?
There are always exams.
In life?
Well, indeed, yes, we're always being tested, but that's no more academic exams for me, God willing. I have made a promise to my family that I will not pursue any more degrees. They're like, yeah, three masters now in the ordination. Don't even think about a PhD. Just like back yourself up. So, good news. Thank you. It's on us, friends. Aleinu, 587, rising as you are able. Whoop, dropping things, if you're me.
Aleinu
L'shabeach la'adon hakol,
la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shehu sam chalkeinu liyached et shemo, v'gor aleinu lahamlich malchuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
591.
V'nemar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad.
Be seated. $594. It's a fearful thing to love what death can touch. A fearful thing to love, hope, dream, to be. To be and oh, to lose, a thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. It is a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched. It's as we celebrate the blessings of our lives that we're reminded of the loss of those we love. If you are in a period of mourning or of remembering, inviting you to rise and say the names of your loved one.
Kenya, Basilia, Basora, Person, Ben Moshe, Ben Yehuda, Ben Abba.
Holding the names of those members of this community who have passed in recent weeks and months, adding also the names of those whose yard sites we mark: Samuel Bloom, Charles Yitzhak Yoshua Brackman, Robert Brackman's father, Natalie Robbins Corbin, Mildred Heisman, Conrad Heisman's mother, Miss Rose Levine, Edith Marcus, Leslie Marcus Dent's mother, Phyllis Pellet, Debbie Beck's mother, Blanche Singer, Walter B. Steiner, Dora Ullman, and Eva Zippel, Sharon Zippel's mother. Remembering those whose names are not on this list or any other, and for whom Kaddish has not yet been said, and for whom there is no one to say it. Lives, lifting up the lives and names of those members of every race and nation whose life was gift to us and whose loss we grieve. Standing together as community, 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'vyomechon u'fhayei d'kol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min Shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol b'nei Adam v'imru amen. Amen. Before we move to close, just wanting to offer my gratitude to Vicky for being our greeter this morning, Ellen as our gabbai. Where's our junior gabbai? Over here, under the chair. Thank you to Sheldon, who helped orient us to our place in the Torah.
And Barry.
And to all of you, to Barry, who always has it at 11. 626. Sanctify this day that has, oh, you know what I love about Ellen's challah is that it always just slips in. It's like magic. Like I put one challah there, and by the time I lift the cover off, there's two, and one of them is Ellen's. So thank you. It's like I never see it happen. It's like Pokeroo, or maybe that's a Canadian reference, but like it's
It is.
mysterious appearance of a challah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to the one for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Hag sameach. Oh, I need a glove. I do. I would love some glove. Actually, you know what? I can do this. I got this. I am going to use
Oh, don't tell anybody.
the plastic here.